What's going on, people? What's going on? It's Wingy here. This is a important video that I should have done a long time ago, man. I've been on YouTube for a good few years now on the gaming stuff, and I've yet to do a video on solely dedicated to why my favourite game is what it is. This game means so much to me, it's difficult to put it into words. It is really seminal in my life, and I think now with the yeah, I said life, baby, life. And I think now with the launch of my new channel, WingyFailsAtStreetFighter, and obviously with the oncoming Street Fighter 5 game, literally the most esteemed religious moment that will happen in gaming, the launch of Street Fighter 5. I think now's a good time to tell you, and just to do this video on basically why I'm side is because it's emotional. I love this game. I love this game. 10 reasons why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time. Let's get right into it, man. Now, these are, you got to listen to what I'm saying here. I'm saying why it's my favourite game of all time. I'm not saying why it should be considered the best game of all time, because it's all personal, it's all opinion. These are just unique opinions to me, unique reasons that fit in with my life. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's only a personal opinion, but I'm talking from my perspective. I just want to do this video because I love this game so much, and I want to give Street Fighter 2 kind of like its props. Do you know what I mean? It gets its props, it's respected, but I want to give it its props. Just as time goes on and games get a little bit older, and the game gets a bit older and a bit older and a bit further away, and the youngsters are forgetting about, you know, look at the blood and the Mortal Kombat now, you know? So I just want to talk about it. So number 10, my number 10 reason why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time. This is uniquely personal to me, of course, nostalgia. I was around 9 or 10 when I played this game in the arcades. I must have been about 14 years old when I really went in on Street Fighter 2. That's when Champion Edition was launched. If you just take a step back and just think about that age, 14, that is such a seminal moment in like a young boy's life, do you know what I mean? That's when you're meant to be going out, girls and all of that, partying, yeah, all of this, that. I was not, I was literally on Street Fighter. I got obsessed with it, I got the comics, I got the figures. I fell in love with the game. So that's my personal, I mean, I was drowned in Street Fighter 2. It's all I played, that and my second favourite game of all time, which is Streets of Rage 2. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But for now, number 10, my number 10 reason why it's my favourite game of all time, nostalgia. Number 9, lore and legend. The stuff like the you must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance. If you know Street Fighter 2, you know all about that legend. I don't need to go into that, do you know what I mean? I don't want to try not to bore people. There might be people new to Street Fighter here. But just little stuff like that, the red fireball glitch, Gules sort of, you know, his handcuff attack, just the way these things have sort of grown on and lived on in legend years on. Little glitches like Chun-Li being the wrong, like a different colour on the select screen, then you choose her and the colour changes. Like I said, the red fireballs. Even going into the custom versions of the arcade with multiple sonic booms and characters flying all over the screen. Guile doing that kick upside down, where you could actually see Capcom and the developers looking at what's gone on in these sort of like customized arcade machines and applying them into the next version, Street Fighter. Oh God, I love this game. The lore, the legend, everything about it. The original sort of comics, of which I still own, in which I actually got at the time when I was a kid. The Street Fighter Alpha series, which obviously which Street Fighter 2 gave birth to, literally some of the best fighting games of all time. The Alpha games, Alpha 3, beautiful. This game to me is my Star Wars. It's like my Star Wars. You know how people like have grown up with Star Wars, they're obsessed about it, it's their thing. This is my Star Wars. These characters have always been there for me. I've always loved the characters in this game, and they've been with me since I was young, and I've loved them all my life. I even had Ryu on my wedding cake. That's what my profile picture is in WingyFailsAtStreetFighter at this channel. I even had Ryu on my wedding cake. Do you know what I mean? The final step, which I will do, is the tattoo. I don't know if it's going to be the classic Street Fighter 2 logo or the Goken tattoo. We shall see. Number 9, why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time, lore and legend. Number 8, Special Champion Edition. So Street Fighter 2, the arcade, gave birth to Special Champion Edition, which it hadn't of. I may not have enjoyed Street Fighter the way that I did. Reason being, it's I didn't have a SNES at the time. I only had the Mega Drive, so I wanted the SNES, but my parents wouldn't let me have it. I managed to borrow one of a friend, but I didn't have it. And I played Street Fighter in the arcades before that, and I wanted it so much at home. I can still feel how I felt now at the time. I wanted it so much at home. Oh my god! And the fact that they come up with Special Champion Edition really did solidify this as like my favourite game of all time, because I really got time to delve into it. I own this. Fortunately, it's not my original one, man. I had to sell on and sell on and sell on. But I own Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition right now, and I own a 6-button joypad from my Mega Drive. Number 8, reason why it's my favourite game of all time, because it gave birth to Special Champion Edition, which is the home version, which I got to enjoy at home. Kind of a convoluted reason to give for number 8, but Hadouken to you. What are you going to do about it? Hadouken. Number 7, and this really should be higher. The number 7 reason that's my favourite game of all time, the music. Street Fighter 2 has the most beautifully composed tunes in any fighting game. Even Streets of Rage 2, I'm going to say it, even Streets of Rage 2, even Yuzo Koshiro's soundtrack. Street Fighter 2 has a beautiful, beautiful soundtrack. Dalsim, Ryu, Vega, Blanca, Ken, Guile. These are some of my these are classics, some of these tunes, man. They're remixed even to this day, and they're freaking classics. I can hum them all to you. I can sing them all backwards, whatever you need. Do you want a bit of Vega? Do you know what I mean? What do you need? Oh God. And the T-Hawk, the beauty of that T-Hawk soundtrack. I know it's Super Street Fighter, but I'm using it for this one. I just love T-Hawk. It's so emotional, man. It grips at my chest. My phone's been Street Fighter tones and music since you've been able to literally stick them on a phone. Street Fighter is actually beautiful music-wise. Check the playlist on my channel below. I love Street Fighter's music. Dalsim, and shout out to the fantastic composer of Street Fighter, Yoko Shimomura. Thank you for your efforts, and thank you for giving us these beautiful compositions. It's happening again. It's the tears. It's just the music. Number 6, the characters in Street Fighter. The characters. Tell me that M. Bison is not the most cold, twisted, kind of like soulless dictator, creator, bad guy in a fighting game. He is messed up. And it's not over the top like a great big demon with, oh, look at me, oh, got spikes coming out my ears, oh, look at my teeth, oh. He's just cold-hearted dude from Thailand who happens to be drenched in psycho power. He's always got that twisted smile on his face. There's these characters, Blanca. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just the characters. And obviously I'm going to get to a real serious character in the game in a minute. And Chun-Li and her legs. I think Chun-Li was probably my first gaming female crush. Her legs, I remember at the time, oh yeah, she probably would have been actually. Yeah, I think I tried to look up her skirt when she's on the spinning bird kick and paused the screen at various times to try and see her butt cheeks and whatnot. The characters in Street Fighter 2 are my number 6 reason why it's my favourite game of all time. Number 5, it introduced martial arts ethics into gaming, i.e. regular. I mean, I'm a bit of a, I'm slightly a little bit of a marshmallow man, dusted in donut juice right now. But in the past, I've done Aikido, Kung Fu and Krav Maga for about 8-9 years in total, all those martial arts. And the regular daily training, the focusing on errors, some of the mental aspects you can actually relate. Obviously not physical because you're only using your hands, but the mental aspects, the repetition, and you do see an improvement. And gaming had never had that kind of sort of like mental what's the word I'm looking for? Mental dexterity, sort of having to need the neurons in your brain over and over, repeated, training, punches, combos. And Street Fighter 2 introduced that, because when you went to the arcade, you wanted to be nice, brother. You wanted to be nice. One of the funny things is everybody always thinks they're the best at Street Fighter 2 when you're younger. I'm bad at Street Fighter 2. All right, you can talk, you can do a couple of Hadoukens, but what about when I start jumping those Hadoukens? What's your footsie game like when I'm up close? How are you handling that? And just to train, take that, go into the arcades at the age of like 14 or whatever, or even younger when I was just doing it on the arcades. Going into the arcades when the fair come around, going to the arcades, everybody from school coming with you, 13, 14. You're like, yeah, getting on Street Fighter and kicking fucking ass because you fucking trained at it, especially after Champion Edition come out. Sweet feeling. My number 5 reason why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time, because it introduced martial arts ethics into gaming. Thank you, Capcom. My number 4 reason is the origin of the combos. Street Fighter 2. All the combos you see today in Marvel vs. Capcom, Killer Instinct specifically, Mortal Kombat, all originated from Street Fighter 2. Most of you may know the story of the combos, but let me read you exactly from a programmer in Capcom Japan. I'm going to butcher the name, but I don't want to not say his name because it feels disrespectful. Motohide Eshiro. That's how the name reads to me. I apologise if I pronounce that wrong. So this is the story of the combo. The combos you know and love today. The combos you love today. Bow down to the granddaddy because Street Fighter 2 gave them to you. I quote from the programmer. Early on in development, it became clear that we were being a little too strict and a little too severe with the input methods. So when you did the down, forward punch to input a fireball, you had to hit punch at exactly the minute you were hitting right on the joystick or it wouldn't work. And it was just really hard for people to get their heads around that, not hands. It really felt like you were doing it right and it wasn't working. So we decided to open up that timing a little bit, just by a few frames, so that if you hit the punch button within those few frames, you'd be okay and your fireball would work. And as a side effect of that, so I guess if you wanted to call it a bug, you could, but really, it was really just a side effect of giving people more time to enter the button. Anyway, players could perform combos off of that. So if you're doing a crouching kick by holding down and then pressed right and right punch when your character was doing that animation, you could connect those together. It wasn't intentional to let players combine moves into combos, but it wasn't a bug in that it was planned to make it easier to do your special moves. So, it wasn't a bug as in a technical bug, which I've always thought it was. But it wasn't a technical bug as such. It was just an effect which they made. They changed the frames to make the moves easier. And as a result of that, combos were born. These things were called combos were born. And now we see it in all games. So, come on, give respect to Street Fighter for giving birth to this, alright? If it wasn't for that little effect, / bug, / change that they made, the combos wouldn't have happened. Love you, Street Fighter. Number 3, why Street Fighter is my favourite game. Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time. Ryu. I think he's a legendary character. He's my favourite game character of all time. He's a legendary man beyond a mere character. His ethics, his morals. His ending sequence alone in Street Fighter 2, just the man doesn't even want to take to the podium. He's walking off. Backpack over shoulder, rucksack, whatever you want to call it, bag. He's walking off. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the glory. There's only one thing that matters for Ryu, and that is the battle, the fight. Do you know why? Because the answer lies in the heart of battle. Number 3, my reason why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time is Ryu. A fantastic character. My favourite character, as I said, I even had Ryu on my wedding cake. That says it all, doesn't it? 2. The number 2 reason why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time. It introduced pure competition. One-on-one. It introduced the tournament scene. Whereas before it would have been based, a video game competition would have been based on high scores. It introduced pure one-on-one. The ultimate competition. What is more pure and raw than that in gaming, going up against somebody? Pure. One person, another person, sitting next to each other. Fight! Do you know what I mean? Beautiful. Who is the better player? You can't walk away and say, oh, although people did used to say, oh, yo, no throws, okay? No throwing and all this lot, and no fireballs, and don't throw in the corner and all that crap. F that. Pick up that stick, brother, or get on that damn arcade. Put your money in. We're at college. Everybody's standing around eating chips. Round 1. Fight. Sorry, I'm passionate, as you can tell. It introduced pure competition, man, into gaming, and I love Street Fighter 2 for that. That's the second reason why it's my favourite game of all time, Street Fighter 2. And number one, why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time, because it is the granddaddy of all fighters. It is literally the dad, the boss, the pimp, however you want to word it, whatever you want to say about it. It's the big boy. And that's why it's my favourite game of all time, because it introduced fighters. You see Tekken, you see Mortal Kombat, you see Art of Fighting, you see Guilty Gear, you see Blaze Blue, you see Skullgirls, whatever you want to say. Do you know what I mean? King of Fighters, all those SNK fighting games. Every fighting game you see came from the one and only Street Fighter 2. Thank you, Capcom. That is my favourite reason. That is my top reason why Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time, because it is the granddaddy of all fighters. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Quick recap on the screen of my reasons, 1 to 10. Street Fighter 2 is my favourite game of all time. I love the game. I've been meaning to do this video for a long time. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, subscribe for more Street Fighter stuff, and if you feel the same about Street Fighter 2 as I do, then definitely share this video. Let people know. Never let the memory of this game die, which it will not do. Not while I'm around. I'll leave you with one thing. Yoga.